Okay, let's jump right in. We're starting this deep dive with an idea that, honestly, sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's not. It comes from the research.
It does. And the claim is pretty bold. The engines are ready. The math is done. The trajectories to the stars are all drawn up.
It feels deliberately dramatic because it completely flips the script on the whole question of space travel.
It does. For, 70 years, the big challenge was always technical, right? How do you build a rocket that can go that far, that fast, for that long?
And the sources are arguing that we're basically there, at least in theory. The path exists.
Which means the question is totally changed. It's no longer can we go, it's shifted to something much, much harder.
Are we truly ready to leave?
Exactly. And this isn't some, philosophical debate for the future.
Oh.
The sources are framing this as a survival strategy.
Let's talk about that term, survival strategy. That's an urgent phrase. What's the threat?
Well, it's a whole list of existential threats that are, frankly, accelerating. We're talking about things like a catastrophic asteroid impact, for one.
Right.
Then there's escalating climate instability. And the big one, the really complex one, is the risk of runaway AI failures. Things that could just switch us off.
So keeping all of humanity on one planet, on Earth, is starting to look statistically very risky.
It's a bad bet, long term. But here's the twist in all this, the real core of our dive today. We've been so focused on the technology, on the distance.
But the research says the real problem, the point where this whole grand venture fails, is us.
That's it. That's the whole mission statement right there. Our tech has completely outpaced our own psychology.
Our brains, the same brains that designed the ships, evolved for right now, for the immediate moment.
But an interstellar journey? That's a commitment that lasts for centuries. It needs people who will start a project knowing they'll die before it's even halfway there.
So the true cost isn't fuel, it's not titanium.
No, it's the courage to consciously reshape our own nature, to override hundreds of thousands of years of evolution.
It's a huge paradox. We think we need a technological leap, but maybe what we really need is a cultural one.
A massive cultural leap first. So let's start with the scale of the physical problem, because that really sets the stage for the psychological.
Okay, let's do it. The tyranny of distance. The numbers here are they're mind-bending. The closest star is Alpha Centauri.
4 1/3 light years away. And that number sounds so simple, but it's incredibly deceptive.
What would that mean with our current tech, like a rocket we could build today?
Oh, we're talking tens of thousands of years. It's not just a long trip, it's an impossible one.
So even if we get a bit more futuristic, fusion drives or those laser-driven sails people talk about.
Even then, even if you get up to, say, 10% of the speed of light, you're still looking at a trip that spans multiple generations, 100, maybe 200 years.
A 200-year journey, which means you have to completely reframe what the mission even is.
It's not a voyage. It's a civilization-long commitment. The whole thing depends on the cooperation of people who are born and will die inside that ship.
People who have never felt the sun, never stood under a real tree.
And they're inheriting a mission from ancestors who are, to them, just ancient history.
And that leads us right to the work of the evolutionary anthropologist you mentioned, Dr. Kathleen Bryson. She argues the real barrier is our own evolution.
That's her entire argument.
So how specifically does our evolutionary past sabotage a project like this?
Well, Dr. Bryson's point is really elegant. She says, our brains are optimized for the present.
Meaning?
Meaning, for almost all of human history, survival depended on what was right in front of you. Finding food for tonight, staying safe from a predator, making alliances for this winter.
Not worrying about your great-great-great-great-grandchild.
Exactly. Natural selection favored the person who focused on the here and now. That wiring makes it, and this is her quote, extraordinarily hard to commit to projects whose rewards arrive long after we are gone.
The payoff, the dopamine hit, it comes from solving a problem today.
Not from doing your job so that the fourth generation on a starship can do theirs. You'll never see it. You'll never get the credit.
Which brings up a brutal question. How do you persuade that third or fourth generation to sacrifice everything, their comfort, their freedom, for a destination they've only seen in, old videos?
A place they never chose to go to, they never consented, they were just born into this burden.
They might just decide the mission is pointless.
Or that their immediate needs, more resources, more personal freedom, are more important than the goal set by their long-dead ancestors. If that happens, the whole project just falls apart.
Okay, but let me push back on that a little. Haven't humans always managed huge long-term projects? I mean, building cathedrals, founding religions.
That's a great point, and the sources tackle it directly.
Yeah.
The key difference is that all of those things happened within the safety of Earth.
Ah.
If a cathedral project failed, it was a disaster. But society didn't collapse. People could still grow food, find water. There was a safety net.
In space, there's no safety net. There's no margin for error.
Zero. So let's assume we've solved the engine problem, we have a working generation ship. Now the real nightmare begins, which is just keeping it going.
So beyond propulsion, what's the next biggest hurdle?
It immediately stops being about rocket science and starts being about biology and sociology.
You okay?
Biologically, you have two giant problems.
Yeah.
Genetic diversity and the microbiome.
Keeping the gene pool from getting too small and causing problems down the line. That makes sense.
It's a huge challenge. It would require some pretty strict social controls on who has children with whom. Potentially very authoritarian.
And the microbiome. Why is the bacteria living in our guts so important here?
Because it's essential for everything. Your immune system, your mental health. And in a sterile metal can, flying through space for 200 years.
That diversity would just plummet.
It would degrade rapidly. You could see generations of people with weakened immune systems susceptible to diseases that we would just shrug off here on Earth.
Wow. So the very environment designed to keep them safe would actually be making them sick.
But even that isn't the biggest risk. The things that Dr. Bryson really focuses on, the things that will most likely cause the mission to fail, are social.
The psychology of it all.
Absolutely. Things like cultural drift and psychological fatigue.
What does cultural drift look like on a ship in the middle of nowhere?
It's the mission slowly losing its meaning. The further you get from the original founders, the more abstract the goal becomes. The why gets lost.
And the how could degrade into just ritual.
Precisely. You run the risk of what's called a technological cargo cult.
A cargo cult. You mean like the descendants are performing maintenance on the fusion reactor but have no idea how it actually works. They're just worshiping it.
Yes, they're following procedures they no longer understand. Or think about the politics. The first generation was escaping a threat. The seventh generation has never known that threat.
They might just decide the whole thing was a mistake. They might even want to turn around.
Or just decide that life on the ship is the destination, that the rigid social structure needs to go. And that's where you get rebellion, factionalism, civil war.
And this is what Dr. Bryson means when she says, one dysfunctional generation could collapse the entire mission.
Because interstellar travel tolerates no prolonged failure. One bad century, one bad decade even, and it's over. The system is too fragile.
So if our own evolutionary wiring is the problem, where do we even look for a solution? Are there any blueprints for this kind of cooperation?
The sources look to the natural world for clues. You see some species with these rigid hierarchical systems.
Like ants and bees.
Right, a perfect division of labor, but it's all genetic. There's no individuality. Then you have more decentralized systems, like fungal networks sharing resources.
But what's the best model for us?
Well, the most interesting one is what's called delayed reciprocity.
Okay.
It's when animals cooperate with the understanding that the payback might come much, much later, and from someone else entirely. You see it in elephants, dolphins, wolves.
So they're capable of long-term social investment. And humans are too. We have historical examples.
Oh, absolutely. The sources point to medieval cathedrals. Those took centuries to build. The person laying the foundation knew their great-grandchild might be the one to finish the spire.
And we've done global projects, eradicating smallpox, the Human Genome Project. Those took decades of international trust and cooperation.
It proves we have the capacity. We can commit to things that benefit people we will never meet.
But, and I feel a but coming.
Here's the catch. Every single one of those examples happened within the safety of Earth.
Right. If the cathedral ran out of funds, society didn't end.
Exactly. Failure was survivable. On the ship, failure is absolute. Which brings us back to Dr. Bryson's radical conclusion.
That success isn't about physics. It's about social design. Social engineering for the stars.
You have to engineer the culture as carefully as you engineer the life support. You have to build it for meaning.
How do you do that?
With a culture that has transparent rules, shared rituals, and most importantly, powerful stories that constantly reinforce the purpose of the mission.
Storytelling. It's about turning a technical manual into something sacred.
It has to be. The education system on board can't just teach engineering. It has to teach meaning. It has to prove to that seventh generation that their life matters, even if all they do is maintain a single system their whole life.
So the challenge the research presents to you, the listener, is this. Can we learn to engineer our cultures as precisely as we engineer our machines?
We trust our physicists.
Nice.
But can we trust our anthropologists and sociologists to build a society that can actually survive the journey?
It means we have to consciously fight against our own evolutionary instincts that scream for immediate gratification.
The task isn't just to leave Earth, it's to leave our most ancient, selfish parts behind.
So when we pull this all together, the big irony is just staring us in the face.
It's profound. The technology, the engines, they might be ready long before we are psychologically ready to use them.
Rewiring our own instincts for patience and collective good, that's a much harder problem to solve than fusion propulsion.
It's an incredible task of cultural self-improvement. Maybe the hardest one we've ever faced.
And I just love the little anecdote the sources include about Dr. Brayson herself. After laying out all these monumental challenges, she was asked if she'd go on a mission like this.
And she said no,
Why?
because of a fear of flying.
That's amazing.
It's so human. It suggests that even the expert who understands why we must go still finds our flawed, messy home safer than the perfect, empty void.
It really brings it all home. If our survival truly demands that we leave, we might not have a choice. We'll have to evolve again.
Only this time it won't be through blind natural selection. It'll have to be a conscious choice.
The sources seem to suggest that the real key to reaching the stars isn't out there in the cosmos. It's in here, inside us.
The question is, are we ready to turn that key? Or will our ancient instincts keep us grounded here forever?
And that's the final thought for you to take away. If we have to change our very nature to survive, what parts of being human are we willing to leave behind for the sake of a future we'll never see? The deepest dive, it turns out, is always into ourselves.